we have got deltas as well. So deltas are another landform. Deltas are very important, guys, just like oxbow lakes. Okay, please pay very careful attention to them. They are usually asked. So a delta is just a fluvial landform that is found at the mouth of the river. Remember, guys, that the mouth of the river is basically where the river is entering into the sea. Okay, so the delta is found at the mouth of the river, and this is where different channels that are known as distributaries of the same river are flowing into a sea. Let me just show you a picture so that you kind of have an idea or you kind of see what's happening. So you can see that we're having different channels here that are entering into the ocean. So basically we've got let's just say this is your sea. Let's just call it a sea, convenience purposes. So you are seeing multiple channels, or we are seeing multiple streams that are entering into the channel. Multiple streams that are entering into the channel. But guess what? These streams, they're actually coming from the same river. So the same river actually splits into multiple streams before entering the sea. Because if you zoom in carefully, grade 12, I want you to pay very careful attention to that river there at the back. There at the back here. You guys see the river is only one there. You guys see that we've got only one river there on the other side at the back. We've got only one river that is coming from there.
Yes, sir.
Exactly. So it's only one river, but when it gets here, it starts splitting into different streams. So these different streams to which it is splitting to actually are known as distributaries. Distributaries is the opposite of tributaries. It is distributaries. Remember, the tributaries, they actually combine to form the bigger river, but the distributaries, they actually split from the bigger river. So it's the opposite. And then now when these distributaries will enter, they will enter the ocean, or they will enter the sea separately. Yeah, so they will enter the sea separately. But we know that these smaller streams, or these smaller channels, they're actually coming from one main stream that is bigger. Okay, so now this landform is known as deltas. So they're known as deltas basically. So these deltas, let's just look at them using this view, which is more examinable, right? So you start with one main stream. So this is your main stream. This is your river. And then when it reaches here closer to the mouth, basically it will split. Okay, it is splitting into three different distributaries. That's by splitting into three different distributaries, which can also split as well into other different distributaries. So this is how the deltas look like. This is how the deltas work. So they just split into different streams known as distributaries. So these landforms are known as deltas. So this is just a delta landform. Call it a delta. So these smaller streams are known as distributaries because they kind of distribute the water into different channels. We call them distributaries. Is that a clear, grade 12? Can we see the delta? Do you understand how it works now?
Yeah. Cool. Yes, sir.
Yeah. So now,
split, why they split?
Well, it's something that happens. Oh yeah, nice. Why do they split? Nice. Something that happens. We'll actually find the answer when we do the formation of deltas. Okay, let's look at how they actually end up splitting. Okay, so the first thing that happens at the lower course of the river, I should remember that the mouth is at the lower course. You are about to enter the sea. So at the lower course of the river has got a low speed, or it has got a lower velocity due to a gentle gradient. Guys, this is a fully written point with a cause and an effect, okay? So due to the gentle gradient at the lower course of the river has got low speed, or it has got smaller velocity. Basically means that the river is not moving that much fast because there's a gentle gradient at the lower course. So basically, remember guys, I told you that if the river is not moving so fast, it means that it has got a lower carrying capacity, meaning that the river cannot be able to carry the eroded material anymore. Okay? The river cannot be able to carry the eroded material anymore because it is actually having a smaller carrying capacity. So if the river was carrying rocks and stones within its course, the moment it reaches the lower course, due to this gentle gradient, the river will not be able to carry that eroded material anymore. So the river will instead deposit the material in the riverbed or on the river channel due to the smaller speed. So basically your river was flowing. Let me just make a diagram so that you guys can see. So this is your river. It was flowing from the upper course and all that. So this is your river. It was flowing from the upper course, right? And as the river was flowing from the upper course through the middle course, and now it is now at the lower course. The moment it reaches the lower course, it has got a lower carrying capacity now because it has got lower speed. So here we have got low speed, okay, low speed and lower carrying capacity. Okay, you should add that point as well. I omitted it. You must say that at the lower course, the river has got low speed due to a gentle gradient, full stop. Due to this lower speed, the river has got a smaller carrying capacity. The river cannot be able to carry the eroded materials anymore. So instead, what will it do? It will deposit the material, or it will dump the material within the river itself. So it will dump the material here. So the material can be anything. We might be talking about the soil. We might be talking about the rocks. So this is actually deposited material. So it will deposit material within its course because basically it doesn't have energy enough to carry it. So basically when there is now material, you can see now that the river is now kind of hindered because it wants to keep on flowing, right? There's more water coming from the upper course. How will the river be able to flow now if there's a lot of deposited material? This will actually force the river to split into smaller nyana channels. Into smaller nyana channels. You guys kind of get the sense?
So, sir, are you trying to say this deposition here occurs with these smaller channels to be formed?
Yes. In fact, that's the reality. So the channel splits into several smaller channels known as distributaries because the river is kind of blocking its way. The river is blocking its path. So if it's blocking its path, you guys know water cannot really be blocked, right? It will find other ways. That's why it will split into two smaller streams. And if this continues to happen, these two smaller streams will split into others known as distributaries. Is that clear, Sam?
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Sure. And are you answered I don't know who was asking, was it Tandaza who was asking why does it split? Are you answered?
Yes, sir.
All right. Okay. And then both the bed load and the suspended load are deposited, producing fertile alluvial land. So basically this soil here, this land that as the soil here is being deposited and the rocks and every other deposited material is being deposited here on the course. Basically, we can say that they are fertile. Usually, guys, whenever deposition is happening, there can be deposition of fertile soil. So we can say that here at this point, the land that you're going to find here in this region containing deposits, because we can say that this region, all of it is containing deposits. Here we're having deposits here that were blocking the stream, which caused it to split like this. So this actually forms fertile land. Fertile enough for what? Fertile enough for agriculture as well. Okay. Yeah, so that's it about deltas, Gretovs. Let's look at the significance. Why are they important, or of what importance do they have to us? Deltas are usually highly fertile areas and they support extensive crop cultivation. Because I already told you guys, Veluti, they actually deposit a fertile soil. They actually form fertile alluvial land. So basically, deltas are very, very fertile areas. So you can be able to plant some crops there. And also at the deltas, we have got sand and we also have got gravel. They are also quarried from the deltas and they are utilized for a variety of purposes such as road and building construction. You guys already know that for you to be able to build and do some construction, you need somewhat, you need some sand. Those people who have ever seen other people building something, they use sand. This sand is actually quarried. Whenever we talk about quarrying, quarrying is basically sand mining. We are mining sand. Sand is very important, guys. It's a mineral on its own. So when we are mining sand or when we are quarrying sand, we can use it to construct roads. We can use it to construct bridges. We can use it for construction purposes usually, right? So deltas are important because basically this sand, we already know how it came to be here. It was deposited and the river started splitting, all of that. So deltas are rich in that sand that can be used for construction purposes. So we can be able to quarry sand. And then deltas are also a source of water. You guys are going to complete here. How are you going to use the water? But basically deltas are a source of water as well because they do have water. And if we look at tourism as well, tourism and leisure activities, tourism opportunities are created by deltas and that contributes to the economy because basically deltas, they are actually beautiful to an extent. Look at this. There are people who actually tour near such places. This is a delta. You can see that here, this land here, where people are building their lodges and stuff like that. It is land in between these deltas, in between the river itself, basically, you can say that. But these can be used as tourist attractions because people are sailing with their ship and their boats here so that they can be able to do leisure activities. And you guys, you know that if we have got greater tourism, then we're going to have a better economy as well. And these deltas, they also ensure biodiversity because they kind of act as habitats. Okay, you guys are going to complete the statement that basically the deltas ensure biodiversity because they act as what? As habitats for different species or different animals. So we find a variety of animals there. And they are actually taking the deltas to be their habitat. Is that clear, grade 12?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And then the last one is the braided stream. Very simple one as well. Braided stream is almost the same as the delta because the braided stream consists of multiple small, shallow channels, which are known as distributaries as well. So we still have the same idea of deltas in the braided stream. But now these distributaries, they divide and after that they recombine. That's the difference. They divide and recombine before entering the river. This pattern that is created by this stream actually resembles the strands of a braid. Okay, let me show you how this is like. So we are still having distributaries as well, just like in the deltas. Okay. We are still having distributaries just like in the deltas. But now the difference is that here in the braided stream, the distributaries, they divide and they recombine after that. They don't just divide, they divide and they recombine. So you need to be able to spot the difference, but the difference is not that much, grade 12s. The difference between a braided stream and the delta is not that much big, all right? Because you hardly see it. So basically, if we've got a river, it divides into what? Into distributaries, right? It divides into distributaries. But these distributaries will end up combining again. So these distributaries will end up combining again. They will end up combining again. So this actually looks like a braid. It looks like a braid. That is why we say it's known as a braided stream, because it looks like a braid. So basically, this is the water of the river. This is the river that's flowing here. It splits into two separate channels. Of course, these are known as distributaries. And these distributaries, they can also separate a couple of times and then after that they recombine. They combine again, and then they actually form a shape that looks like the strands of a braid. Yeah. You guys know a braid, right? The braids from the ladies who like to put braids. These are the braided streams. Does that make sense, Kretov?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So how does it form? Still the same process, guys. When the river's carrying capacity is exceeded at the lower course, the river will start to deposit the load within the channel. This is the same thing that happens within the deltas, guys. I told you guys that at the lower course, the river has got a lower carrying capacity. We first say that at the lower course, we've got a gentle gradient, which results in a what? Which results in a lower speed or lower velocity of the river's water. So since the water or the river's water at the lower course has got smaller velocity or smaller speed, it has got less carrying capacity, meaning that it cannot be able to carry the eroded materials for long, right? And then what will it do? Instead, it will deposit. So it will start depositing its load, or it will deposit its material within the river channel itself. This will actually block the river's path, causing it to divide into distributaries. Same thing, guys. And then these distributaries will recombine multiple times, forming a braid pattern. Yeah, so it's the braided stream, nothing much about it, a great off, just like the same thing as the delta. So if you understand the delta in the braided stream, you already understand it automatically. You just need to know the importance. The braided stream, they also serve as a source of water, guys. They've got water just like the deltas, that's obvious. Then this deposited silt can also form fertile soil that can be used for farming as well, just as I told you in the deltas. But now, one of the hard things about the braided stream is that the area makes it difficult to build roads. So it is very difficult to build roads or to build railway lines, or it's very hard for construction. Okay, very hard for construction at the braided stream, because the area is kind of and even it's just not easy to use due to this braided stream. Yeah. So yeah, those are the braided stream grade 12. Nothing much about them as well. Okay. I think we can just look at questions regarding those. Here's a May-June 2025 supplementary paper. Refer to the sketches below of a braided stream and a delta. So having two things, a braided stream and a delta. So you guys need to just see which one is a braided stream, which one is a delta. But here is written for you. You don't have to even see it on your own. So this is the braided stream. The first one is a braided stream. The second one is a delta. Okay, as we've already discussed, of course. So the braided streams and delta, they form due to which dominant fluvial process? Erosion or deposition? Let's hear from you guys. These deltas and
Position.
deposition. Okay, you all agree grade of the deposition?
Yes.
Yes, exactly. I already told you guys that basically they all have deposition happening when the river's carrying capacity is exceeded. Then 2.3.2, state one physical similarity between the braided streams and the deltas. What is the physical similarity? How similar are they to one another? What makes them similar to one another, Kratos?
Then tributaries.
They're what?
Then tributaries.
Yes, they all have distributaries. Those two. Okay. So you can just say both. Both are made up of distributaries, or both split into different distributaries. You can just put it in your way. But since it's 1 point for 2 marks, you might just want to write a bit further. Both streams, or in both cases, the streams split into smaller channels. So they split into smaller channels known as distributaries. I'm just going to write it in a bracket, but you're going to write it in full. So both the streams split into smaller channels known as distributaries. Okay? ASM, you were raising your hand.
No, sir, I was asking about channels, so you already answered me.
Okay. Right. And then point 3.3. Give two reasons why braided stream are common in the lower course of a river. Why do we have these braided stream in the lower course? Why are we not having them in the higher course, in the upper course?
There is a higher volume of water.
There is a higher volume of water. Okay. Remember, guys, this one is a 2x2 type of question. So it's 2 points for 2 marks. And I told you guys that whenever you're answering 2 points for 2 marks, you're supposed to give a cause and an effect approach. That is the approach that you're supposed to use. It makes it way more clear. Cause and effect. What can you must kind of explain fully the cause with its effect. Yes, there is a high volume of water, so
Water cannot hold its deposition.
Okay, let's say from others, let's give it a try. But you're going in the right direction there, though. Tandaza?
So it's what you said, no? And then to add on is the river starts to deposit its load within the channel.
Okay. But why in the lower course? The question is saying why at the lower course. So you must tell us something that has to do with the lower course. Sam, why in the lower course? Why not anywhere else?
I think so. It's because of anti on the lower course, the slope is gently, like you say. So
yes, that's one thing.
In
the gradient is gentle.
The water flow. Yes, so the water will flow slow.
The gradient is gentle, and this results.
And the water will flow.
Yes. In low speed of water, or you can say the water will flow slowly. Okay, that's one thing.
Hey Lapo, I know that you've been enjoying this wonderful video and most likely you've been enjoying watching this handsome face in front of you, but sorry ladies, I'm taken. I just here to tell you that Educate is on the road to 100,000 subscribers by the end of 2025. So please click the subscribe button and click the notification bell so that you get notifications whenever I post new videos. I want you guys to pass. Okay, so if you make my dream true, I reach 100k subscribers, I will make your dreams come true. I will even get you to varsity. I will get you with 7 distinctions. Yes.
Yeah, what other reason causes the braided stream to be common in lower courses? Because Sam told us about the gradient that is gently at the lower course. Yeah, that results in a speed that is decreasing. They might give you 4 marks for both these points, but it's safer to write it as 1 point and write another one. What other thing can you think of? What other reason would cause braided stream to be common in the lower course and not other causes of the river? Yes, continue.
So I think I need to say the river carries a large amount of deposition, so it will be suspended there on an upper stream.
But what will cause it to deposit?
It's because of the river, it will lose into its energy. So
yes, you must start by that. You must start by that because you must give a cause and an effect whenever you're answering these questions to always get the maximum marks. Okay, you give the cause, you give the effect. Okay, but as long as you mention those two, as long as you mention both those two, all right. So here, basically, due to low speed, the river's carrying capacity is reduced. So that's another point as well. You can also mention that as a point alone to say that the river's carrying capacity. Okay, you can say that the carrying capacity of the river, carrying capacity of the river is lower, or the river has got a low carrying capacity. We can say that the carrying capacity decreases, right? Due to what? The cause is the low speed, the one that you explained on the top. Due to the low speed. So basically there's a lower carrying capacity, or the carrying capacity of the river decreases at the lower cause due to low speed. That's another separate point. And then you can also mention as well other things. Obviously, when there's a lower carrying capacity, we'll have dominant deposition. So deposition will be dominant due to a lower carrying capacity. Can mention that as well. Deposition is dominant due to a lower carrying capacity. That's also another point to mention. Due to a lower carrying capacity, there's a lot of deposition. Okay. Yeah. All of those are points, guys. Can also mention other features of the lower cause. Okay, let's just move to 2.3.4 and complete. Why do deltas not form in all rivers? Deltas do not actually form in all rivers. Why do you think that deltas do not form in all rivers? We didn't cover it, I know, but why would you ever assume that? Because some rivers, this deltas thing doesn't actually exist in some rivers. Why is that?
Well, sir, I think in order deltas to form in some rivers, it's because of, I need to say, the river must also carry maybe a lot of sand, or a lot of sand in order to form the
deltas,
in order which a delta can be formed.
Yes, sir. Okay, so yeah, you haven't finished your point. You just told me that it must be able to carry a lot of sand. That's true. So related to the question now.
Maybe so that maybe sediments can move faster and the river can deposit can deposit that sand so that there are no deltas formable.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's fairly to say, Uti. Some rivers don't actually deposit that much into the river channel. Okay, some rivers, as they are flowing and flowing and flowing and flowing, you'll only find out when their carrying capacity has been exceeded, they are just going to deposit a small amount. Let's just say maybe they're just going to deposit small amount of maybe silt or whatever it is deposits it is. So basically, the river is not really blocked, or the mainstream is not really blocked. So it will just continue flowing the way it was. So the deltas thing doesn't happen in all rivers. It only occurs if it happens that the river will deposit some material, and the material is strong enough to be able to block the river's path, causing the river to split into two different streams or two different channels and forming deltas. Okay, that's one thing that you can talk about. That's one thing that you can say. Maybe you can say that there is there is not enough silt deposited to block the channel. That's one thing. So basically, if there's not enough silt to be able to block the reverse channel, then the river will not even be able to split into two. Okay. And another thing that you can think of, rivers are different, guys. Not all rivers look the same. Some rivers have got a steeper gradient exactly at the mouth. They have a steeper gradient. You find out that a river has been, yes, at the lower course generally, maybe it's a gentle gradient, but the moment you approach the mouth, like the end of the mouth, you find out that the river is steep. But the rivers that we've been doing all along, you guys already know that all of them, they've got a gentle lower course and they've got a gentle gradient there at the mouth. But some of them are different. Okay. Some of them are different. That's one other thing that you can think of. Some rivers have got a steeper lower course. And this, for it to happen, remember, for the carrying capacity to be decreased, we need to be at the lower course that is gentle. The one that we've been discussing in 2.3. But now some of them, so you can just say some of the rivers have a steeper lower course, so there won't be any deposition, resulting in no deposition. Because basically when the lower course is not gentle, then there won't be any deposition. And when there's no deposition, nothing will block the reverse channel and we will never have deltas. Okay. Let's just do 2.5 grade 12 and try to rest. Explain why deltas are suitable for agriculture. Why do you think deltas are suitable for agriculture? Yes, Sam.
Well, sir, I think it's because of the soil, it's fertile,
Exactly.
and also it is rich in nutrients.
Exactly. Yeah. So basically the deltas, remember, they deposit fertile soil. Okay. They've got fertile soil deposits. So the deltas deposit fertile soil. So they are fertile soil deposits which can be used for crop farming. So we have got fertile soil deposit. So the soil that is deposited there is fertile. And then the other thing, what else? What else makes a deltas a suitable land for agriculture?
I think, sir,
Yes.
I think, sir, because of IT, the land is also flat, so it's also easier to, do
Okay.
crops there.
Is flat land as well. Remember that the lower course is gentle. So flat land, or you can say that we've got a gentle gradient. We have a gentle gradient, okay, which actually allows us to be able to do the agriculture. You just phrase it in your own way, but you complete the statement. But there's flat land, it's a gentle gradient. And think of multiple other things, guys. Don't forget, Pella, the primary thing is that deltas, they've got water. Both deltas and braided stream, all of them, they've got water. So we already know that the primary thing is that the deltas actually act as a source of water. That's the primary thing. Okay. So source of water. Deltas act as a source of water for whatever purposes. But here they say it explain why deltas are suitable for agriculture. So it must be specifically geared for agriculture. So you can talk about crop irrigation. Whenever you are watering your crops, you can use the water. Or whenever your livestock needs to drink water, you can just drink from the delta. So agriculture, guys, is in two ways. We've got crop farming. We also have got we've got crop farming at the same time. We also have got livestock farming. So we might have people with cows, and those cows need they need water to drink. You can just drink from the deltas. Yeah, and many more that you guys can think of. Okay, as long as they kind of make sense. As long as they make sense and they fall within the range. Yeah. So this is it about braided streams and deltas, ladies and gentlemen.